Sawubona Mzansi, and welcome to this evening's MIH Live. So, we got up to some interesting things yesterday in yesterday's live. So, just a quick recap. What we did yesterday was we created we started the process of creating the Mzansi directory package, right? So, I showed you how we create MIH packages, and it was quite cool, quite nice. It was nice sitting, answering your questions, trying to figure out if everyone knows or how it all works and all of this kind of things, right? So, so yeah. So tonight, I want to show you the progress that I got up to today, and from there we'll understand what we're gonna get up to today. So in the Mzansi directory, I showed you that there's 3 pages that we would like to have, or 3 tools that we would like to have in the Mzansi directory. And and yeah, things are looking good. In today's live, what we're going to get up to is we're going to if we have a look, if you remember, we designed that, like, when you're searching for someone, something will pop up with their profile picture, maybe their username, and maybe their name, surname at the bottom. We'll design it together, we'll understand. Sawubona Jay, nice to see you here this evening. So we'll figure out how things work, how things are going with all of that. So yeah, let me show you what I got up to today. Let me go back. So in last night's live, where we stopped off was we decided what icon we're going to use in the Mzansi directory. We can have a look again today, but I think it's looking good. I'm really liking what it looks like. And yeah, let me show you what that looks like. So we stopped off by selecting the icon, and in today's, or during the day, I added it to our icon pack and then added it into the MIH homepage. Let me switch screens for you, and we can have a look to see what that looks like. Also, another update, but I'll get to that now. So let me show you what we got up to. So if you can see at the bottom of the screen, let me know about the placement also. I want to know if you like where this Mzansi directory is positioned inside MIH, or should it be somewhere else? Should it be lower? Should it be higher? Where should it be? That's what I would like to know from you. But this is the new icon. You can see Mzansi directory at the bottom of the screen. Do you like what that looks like? You can just say yes or no in the chat. I don't mind that, Mzansi. You can let me know. But one of the members of Mzansi, I think their name was Amma. Amma suggested this while we were on flat icons looking for a particular icon for the directory. So we have something like this, right? It looks really good. Thank you so much, Jay. I think so too. I think Amma did a good job by selecting this one. So please feel free to give me your ideas, give me your suggestions also. We'll add it into MIH. But for those that don't know what we're getting up to, or those that are new here, we are working on the Mzansi directory. So let's increase the size of this. The Mzansi directory is going to be a place, or the place where you go to search for people and businesses across Mzansi through MIH, right? And when you first open up the Mzansi directory, you'll first be greeted with your contacts. So this is the people that you connected with, and also pending requests, pending contacts. Then we have our favorite businesses. So this is all the businesses that you want to check out later on, or maybe you go to them frequently. So we'll see that. And the next is the Mzansi search, right? So we have the Mzansi search, yeah. So this is the place where you search for people and businesses. So you'll enter what you're looking for, and then it'll give you a list of people of Mzansi and businesses of Mzansi, or Mzansi businesses. And if we head over to the next one, when you click on one of these, like the red ones over here are representing people. So if you click on any one of these people, it should take you through to their profile that looks like this, right? So you have their profile picture, username, name, surname, the type of account that they have, and their purpose. So I'm calling it their purpose, right? So I know in other social medias it's their bio, their biography, I guess. But I would like to know what your purpose is. What do you want to do in life? What are you happy with? Or happy with doing? So that's what we're gonna have there. If you click on one of the green ones, so one of the businesses, it should take you here where you'll have the business name, the business's mission and vision. Also, you'll have some action items or action buttons that you can press. So that will be the call button, the email, location, website, rate us, bookmarks. This is the vision that we are heading towards, right? So let me show you how far we got now, right? So the first thing that we're gonna have a look is to see what the Mzansi profile looks like, right? So if you click on this, you'll see this is what the new profile looks like. I remember in the previous live, this information that was here, your purpose, was hard-coded, static information that didn't change at all, right? Doesn't matter what profile you open it up with, it will say the exact same thing. But now, if you have a look at the bottom, you see this word over here, DSA, SDSA, right? So that I was just showing in the video today. But if I go in and delete that, scroll to the bottom, you'll also see that there's a character counter. So you're only allowed 256 characters for your purpose. And here's the spell check feature that we have. So there was a spelling mistake, so I clicked on that. So you don't have to. I am terrible at spelling. So I've added this in for us and people just like me. Thank you so much, everyone, for the likes. I appreciate you. So once we've edited our profile, from here you can edit your first name, last name, username, even your profile picture. You can edit it through your new profile window. If we scroll to the bottom and click on update, you'll see that if we go back into the Mzansi profile, that little bit at the end has now ended. So you can see, let's go here. You can see how similar things are looking. The only thing now is, because this is you going through it, thank you so much, Jay, for the heart me. I appreciate you. Sawubona, thank you for joining. So you can see how similar they are. So we have our profile picture, we have our username, first name, last name, the type of profile that we have, and then also our purpose, which is here. And then I know we're supposed to have a connect button, but I'll add that later on for us. So for now, I'm just having it as an edit button. And if it's your first time setting up your profile, it'll say set up profile over there. And we still have it at the bottom over here, sorry. We still have it at the bottom that is edit profile, right? So it's the exact same thing. So when you click on edit profile, the new edit profile window will open where you can edit your information. And now let's show you what the Mzansi directory looks like. So it's very bare bones, very plain right now. It is, well, as you can see, we're on our context. So let's go back to our Canva so you can see what and compare what it looks like. And please let me know about the order also. Do you like the order of things in the Mzansi directory? So we have let's turn this a bit. So we have on the left hand side, number 1, contacts is going to be this, right? So you can search for your contacts there, and then so while you search for them, it'll filter out your contacts, your people, and it'll show you the one that you're looking for, right? You can either swipe over or click on the briefcase at the top to take you to your favorite businesses, right? Your favorite businesses will be here. Your favorite businesses will be here. And if you have a look, this is what it'll look like in the future. This is what we currently have. This is the search bar at the top with the title at the top. Next we have, I must change this to search Mzansi to Mzansi search. What we have over here. So once again, the exact same thing. Don't forget to add a peak animation to the next page. So that's automatic, Jay. So thank you for reminding me. I appreciate that. But if we have a look, that's something I added to the, if you remember when we were coding it, let's go back to our, not here, let's go back to the Mzansi directory package just to refresh our memory on what we did yesterday. So this is our Mzansi directory. If I bring you a little bit closer, this is the Mzansi directory index page, if you can call it that. And because we're using the MIH package widget, because we're using the MIH package widget over here on line 9, it'll automatically add that animation. So how we coded it inside MIH is if we change something in the package widget, it applies it to all our past packages and future packages. So if we click on this, you should see that peak animation also. It's just not so noticeable, but look at the top of the screen, you'll see it. So we can click on Mzansi directory and you can see how it slides. So the peak animation is there. Thank you so much for reminding us. But that's because we put it in our Mzansi package widget. So every change we made to the Mzansi package widget affects all of the packages inside MIH, just to make it easy for us when we are coding. And so we have this and that, right? That's how far we got today. What I want to do and what I want to design with us today is this. So let's do the personal one first, right? So this one over here. So what we're going to do is design this thing, because it's something, thank you so much, Dave, because it's something that it's repeated all the time. I don't want to code this multiple times for each of these. Like say there's 1,000 contexts, I don't want to have 1,000 lines of code for each of these elements, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to design this today. Let me know if you have any other questions about MIH and its functionality and its features. But we can get going. Hello, Dr. Pixel. Nice of you to join us this evening. So let's head over and start coding. So we inside, if you look at the side of the screen, we have the Mzansi directory package. If you look at our file structure, over here, we have our lib, which is basically our library. So I'm glad you're here also, Dr. Pixels. I'm glad you're here also. So we have our components. So this is the custom elements, custom widgets that we created inside MIH. The configuration is basically some theme stuff, our root generator and our environment variables. Then we have the packages and our services, right? So the services are basically helper files to help us call our API, so call our backend. Just to make it easier, instead of, the reason why I'm doing it, I was watching a video where someone was saying that you have to, or it's best practice to separate your business logic, which is like your API calls and all of these other things, with your UI elements, right? Keep them separate. So that's why we split up. So in the packages, if you look here, here's all our packages. So we split up our packages and our business logic, which sits under our services. So the one we're looking at is the Mzansi directory. So what I think we should design today is let's create a new folder inside our Mzansi directory. And no, I don't want to do it here. So because we're creating our own custom elements, I feel like we should have it inside our MIH packages components, and we'll just put it inside here. So let's start a new file, MIH underscore personal underscore profile underscore. I'm thinking of calling it preview, because it's basically, let me dot. I'm calling it preview because this is basically a preview to the profile, right? Your name, surname, or maybe we won't even have name, surname, just username and profile type, I think. So let's head back over to our code in VS Code. Which state management package are you using? Currently, Mr. Pixels, Dr. Pixels, our state management is hopes and dreams. So we are manually managing our state, which is definitely the worst way of doing it. And it's super frustrating, even especially now that MIH is getting much larger, much more packages. But let me show you what I would like to start implementing, but it's going to take some time because this is the first time I'm hearing about state management when I'm building MIH, but this is what we're going to use. So provider. So I'm going to use the provider package. I know there's other packages like block Flutter. So block is another state management tool, and it's also one of the favorites inside Flutter. But this is very this is a little bit more complex, I think, but this is based on what I've been, like the videos that I've been hearing. It's a lot more complex. It provides a lot of functionality, but it feels like it's too much functionality that they're providing to such a beginner like myself, right? So like Dr. Pixels is saying, Sweet Provider is a nice package. Honestly, I use to use that for more formal projects. I use Block now. It goes very well if you use Flutter, clean architecture. You see, so I don't think so I have tried to align it. Let me know, Dr. Pixels, because this is how I did watch a video about it, and they did say like you must have a config one to keep your router and environment and theme, all of those kind of things. You have your, they don't call it packages, they call it something else like pages or something. And then you have your services. I don't know if this is clean architecture, but we are getting there slowly but surely. Yeah, so I'm definitely going to start off with provider and learn about state management, because I watched a really good video from some of Google's developers. So Google's developers did like explain. So in this video, let me explain what this video was about. So they were basically these two guys every year at Google I/O. They have a Flutter talk. So they are part of the Flutter team. And they were speaking about state management. And what I liked about the video is that they showed me a bad way of state management. And when I saw that, I saw that's exactly what I'm doing, which is super bad. And that's what they were saying. And then they explained how to fix it and how to resolve those issues using provider and using state management and lifting up our data above our UI elements. So it's something like that. But it was really cool, really interesting. And it's on our roadmap of things to do. So definitely provider, and then maybe one day in the future I'll use Block. But for now, and also updated 2 months ago, so you can see it's fairly, and it's also, if you have a look over here, it's on Android, iOS, Linux, macOS, web, and Windows. So it works everywhere, right? Which I like. So yes, let's start creating our widget, right? So our widget is going to look something like this one. We're going to have our profile picture. We're going to have our, what is this? We're going to have this thing. Our username, sorry, I'm a fool. Our name, surname, and account type. So the first thing, I'm just going to create I'm going to keep it stateful, because stateful widget. And then we're going to call this MIH Personal Profile Provider. Now that we have that, it should be let's clear this, return maybe a row, not row, children, this one. So this is just a basic row. So we're drawing a row inside Flutter, right? Then what I'll insert over here. So I do have something called MIH circular avatar, right? So that's the circle that you see. It seems like a solid plan. Integrating provider won't be as bad as Block for sure. Thank you so much, Jay. Yeah, and I don't think for such beginners we should go to Block. That's more of an advanced tool, I think. But we can do this, right? Let's go to the end of this, put a comma. And append. Right. So some of these things we don't really need, because let's cheat once again and look at our test package, which is under here, here, and here. So I'll look at my test package and cheat. So the test package is basically a place where I come to test out new elements inside MIH. You can see the MIH banner, add banner. You can see the MIH business card, which is on our business profile. You can see that over here. I didn't show you that yet, but if we head over to the business side of MIH and business profile, you'll see that we're calling this a business card, right? So that's our business card. So this is a place to test out things. And I'm almost positive that if I search for it, MIH circular avatar, cool. Editable false, what is this? Image provider. Okay, so let's put this over and we'll try and see what this is. GD, yank. So let me go. No, guys, the code is out there. What IDE do you guys use? Oh, sorry, not here. Undo. We can put that here. Do you also use VS Code? I'm thinking I want to one day switch over to NeoVim, which is a text-based editor, but it's quite cool, quite interesting. I'm learning the Vim motions at the moment. So over here, change the side word, image provider. Width, what width did we use? We can change this width up. VS Code I use, so VS Code all the way I use, VS Code I use to use Visual Studio. I have a friend that uses NeoVim. I don't know. I'd never, man. NeoVim is quite cool. Thank you so much, V3 Black. Thank you so much for the follow. So NeoVim is quite cool because let me show you, like over here, right? Even though there's errors, let me show you what's cool about Vim and NeoVim. Say I want to copy this entire block of code. So, and while I'm coding now, I'm not really using my mouse that much. I'm just using the keyboard. So say I want to copy this whole block of code over here, right? All until the bottom. Or I want to cut it. Or let's say I want to copy it, right? I just do this and then, so I pressed YAP, which is yank around paragraph, and then I pressed P, and then you can see it copied and pasted immediately. There's it at the bottom, the other one. So you see how cool it is. And say now I want to delete this paragraph, right? So then it's DAP. Now it's gone. No highlighting, none of that. I didn't even have to move my hand off the keyboard, which is quite cool, which is I like about it, right? But let's go back to this. So what I think is over, so editable, I definitely don't want it to be editable. And then look at this, right? Another example of the Vim bindings. That's what it's called. If you want to know about it, let's go to the extensions of Vim. So this is what I'm using to enable that inside VS Code. This over here. So Vim editor, it provides you with a whole lot of shortcuts. Let me show you what the shortcuts look like. There's a whole lesson about shortcuts over here. So I don't know, not as much as what's over here. So I'm basically learning the moving, the inserting, copying. I don't know anything about jumping around. Why do you have so many errors? Because we're just starting off. Don't judge, guys. We're just starting off. So we still need to fill out. So let me tell you why the errors are there, right? So this is a custom widget that is created by us called the MIH circular avatar. The circular avatar is basically, if we open up, it's your profile picture over here, right? The circle ring around it, the profile picture, and the ability to edit things like that, right? So we created that, it's a custom widget, and this custom widget requires some information from us. So let me move this down. It requires some information from us. If you hover over the widget, you'll see some hints. So you can see that it requires an image provider. It requires a double, which is our width. We require a bool, which is a boolean of, to say if it's editable or not, true or false. A text editing controller. A platform file, what. The color of the frame that you want, the frame color, the background color. And an on-change element. So what happens when you change this profile picture, right? But now because I didn't have anything else in, I just, this is just the default. So if I delete all of this, so if I delete all of this, I'll show you now, right? So if I say MIH or append MIH circular avatar, and then let's go to the end, put this or put this. put this. You see how the errors are automatically there? It's because we haven't done anything yet. Alright, so that's why there's so many errors. So over here we're gonna have CW image preview. The width I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I don't know, but I know it's definitely not going to be editable. True. The file controller will add a controller up here. Oh, final text editing controller, and we can just say pro pic controller, right? Oh, let's go late for now, right? And then we'll add that in. And you can see how I'm jumping around from word to word, and I'm not using the mouse or anything. So CW, this is pro pic controller. What is this now? What is this? So I only use my mouse to check the hints, platform file. So once again, I'm going to cheat and look at the test package. This is why we have the test package there, so we can cheat and look at things. So I'll search for MIH circular avatar, www. And then here's another cool thing, right? I'm going to try and search for where did I create this variable called files, right? If you have a look over here, there's a variable called files. All I have to do to find it is press G and then D, GD, and then it takes me exactly to where I defined this variable. So basically GD means go to definition. And then if I want to copy this line, press Y twice, so yank yank. If you hear me say yank yank in the live, just know that's what I'm doing. And then to paste that line in, I just press paste. So let me show you again. If to paste that line in that I just yanked, I just press paste, and then let me import that provider package. So not tab, www, CW, and then I'll just call this file, right? The frame color, it's definitely gonna be change inside word, Mzansi, sorry guys, give me 1 second. Sorry, I just got a message. Yeah, so Mzansi innovation. You know what? Let me not do this. Let me go to the other one. And if you can see over here, we'll just search for MIH circular avatar again. And I'm gonna copy this one over here. So I'm gonna yank one down, go back over to this one, fire. I know, right? It was a struggle in the beginning, and I'm not even an expert yet, right? If I want to delete this line, you'll see, what line is that? Line 28. I just press double D, gone. Oh, save www. Let's import this. Oh, not that. Let's import that. Background color. Once again, I'm gonna cheat and just copy from the previous or the other one, yank one down, and then paste it here, delete this one, and I will save. Cool. And then on change, because this one we're not really changing anything, I'm just gonna put a void function over there, right? Then back CW, let's put 50 for now. All right, let's just put a standard 50, or let's put 100 for now. Let's not be stingy. 100 for now. Cool. So now you can see, who was that? Sman, you can see that there's no errors anymore because we provided all the required fields inside the Mzansi circular avatar, right? If you want to find out what exactly is the circular avatar all about, the MIH circular avatar, once again, GD, go to definition. So I'm here. This is our custom widget. So instead of us reusing all of these lines of code over here, we're just using our custom widget where we put in a couple lines of code in. All right. I wonder if I can quit this from here. Nice, I can. Cool. So the only thing now, or what we have to figure out is in the init state. So let's search for init. Profile preview is null. I think I have a service to help us with this. All right. So if I go to my service one, you can see I'm using my have fun. Thanks so much for joining us, Dr. Pixels. I appreciate you joining us. Even if it's for a short while, that's fine. And it was half the live, so don't feel sad. So I definitely have a helper. So not, is it under here? I think it's probably under here. I definitely have a service. Don't worry about this monolithic service over here. I was still learning services and I did nonsense. There's it over here. This is the service that we're looking for, right? If you want to figure out what the service is, GD, go to definition. And let's have a look. Don't worry about the commented out stuff. That's just me trying out a lot of things. And then when it got working, I left the comments in. So it basically does an API call to our backend file storage server to bring us a link, a secured link that we can use to display inside here. So this is perfect. So I'll show you what we're gonna do now. So let's quit this one. Let's quit this. It's important to have those comments. Exactly, because sometimes, let me go back. Sometimes when, it's like I write code, right? So I'll write code, but I'm not 100% sure that it's working. And sometimes I'm using AI and I'm not sure if AI is correct. So I comment out my previous code that I know works for sure, instead of just deleting it and starting off fresh. So these comments over here are definitely here for assistance. So we'll close this one. Now that I know that it's, well, let me just yank this. So I'm gonna yank that line and then close this file. And then what we will do is, I think we'll create an init state over here, right? So ini, and then we'll use this one, right? Let's just put a space over here. And paste this, delete this. And what is this? What does this provide us? What does this provide us? I know. So once again, if we want to figure out what it is, you just hover over and this provides us with a string. Oh yeah, you can see the name of the function. Lucky I was helping myself out in the past. So the name of this function is get min.io, which is the file storage, open source once again. Let me show you. We can ask Mzansi what's it all about. And min.io. So I'm not sure if you guys, the code is out there, if you've heard of S3, right? If you know what S3 is, which is an AWS thingy, please tell me about the software. I don't want it to speak garbage to us. Software min.io. So let's see what it says.
Okay, let's talk about Minio. Minio is a simple, scalable, and reliable object storage solution. Basically, it's designed to be a really easy way to store files, like photos, videos, documents, in the cloud. It's particularly popular for developers and businesses who need a straightforward way to store and manage large amounts of data. It's built with developers in mind, making it super easy to integrate into applications. It's a great alternative to more complicated cloud storage services. Would you like me to elaborate on a specific aspect of Minio, like its pricing or how it compares to other storage solutions?
Thank you so much, Mzansi AI, for the answer. And thank you, Chab, for the follow. So I see there's a question by Dean. So hi, is this about F&B App Academy? Unfortunately not. This is about Mzansi Innovation Hub. So if we head over to about, it's about Mzansi Innovation Hub. This is the first let me not answer myself. Let's ask Mzansi AI what MIH is about. Please tell me about MIH.
Hey there, Let me tell you all about MIH, it's pretty awesome. MIH is the first super app created by Mzansi Innovation Hub, based right here in South Africa. Basically, it's designed to make your life, both personal and business, a whole lot smoother. Think of it as one place to manage everything. You can build your professional profile, manage your business teams, store loyalty cards, schedule appointments, and even do quick calculations, all within the app. It's built to streamline your life, and it's a fantastic tool. Would you like me to tell you more about a specific feature, like the Mzansi profile?
No, thank you, Mzansi AI. That was enough. So that's what MIH is all about. If you'd like to download it, we are available on the Google Play Store, Apple App Store, and the web. Just search Mzansi Innovation Hub. We're currently on version 1.1.11. Check us out. Also, you can follow us. And if you like the streams and want to get a better experience, we are live on YouTube, Twitch, and Kick. So that's what it's all about. So yes, I was explaining what S3 is. Wow, awesome. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. So this is MinIO. So if you have a look over here, the function that we created is basically get MinIO file URL. So how, if you're familiar with S3, it's basically everything that's stored inside S3 is objects. And I can ask MinIO to give me a URL to that specific file or that specific object. So I created a helper function, which is get MinIO file URL. And let me, yeah, so I use this function to assist us with that. So what we would need here is, let's go. So this custom widget of ours would need a some sort of a parameter that we need to take in. So I think, so let's say final. We're gonna need a string, and we're gonna say profile picture path, right? So I like, even though this is kind of long, wait, let me go back. Let me change this to a small p. So I know it's kind of long, but it really helps me when I'm creating or when I'm reusing stuff. Like if you look at this, it tells me exactly I need a file path and I need a build context over here, right? I chose the name file path to assist me in the future, right? And also under our circular avatar, you'll see that I chose proper names over here for the input that's required, right? Just to assist me, because we code now and tomorrow we forget, but these things like comments and all of these other things assist us in understanding what our past selves did. So I'm going to say required. Wait, let me go to the next line so you can see. All right, so I'm going to say required, and what's this called? This dot profile picture path, comma, let's save. Why is it doing? Okay. I think it's doing nonsense because here. So let's change the 3 words and change this to widget, which is the current widget that we're in, dot profile picture path. Now this function should work for us, but we need to store this somewhere. And I think let's put this inside profile picture controller, profile or propic controller dot text equals to, am I allowed to put in a weight in? I'm trying to think what's the best way of doing this. So we can either do it that way that I just showed you, or if we go to the end of the line, which is here, sorry, can you guys see? Which is here, and let's insert, oh, not there, which is here, insert dot then. I'm sure you are familiar with the then function. And then we can have this, I think underscore because I'm ignoring it. And this. Let's see what happens when we save. Okay, so Sorry, I'm trying to think here what we need to do. So what I'm thinking is image preview equals to network image. This is why I love VS Code also, all the hints and stuff. So network image, and we're gonna provide the, also I shouldn't put underscore over there. I should change that and make this URL, right? So this function over here, this service of ours, this MIH file service provides us with a string back. If you have a look over here, it provides us with a string. Don't worry about future. That just means the thing is going to come a little bit later. And we're going to use that URL that it comes back with to our network image. Why is it doing garbage over here? So network provider. Wait, once again, we're going to cheat a little bit. Where are we going to cheat? Let's go to our, where is this? Our Mzansi profile, personal profile. Right, we're going to go to our personal profile and see how we did it there. We'll also go to the init state because it's probably there where we're doing it. Oh, I don't even think it's there. Wait, I'm doing nonsense now. So CW network image. Yeah, that's the one. I don't know what the other one was, but network image. So basically this line over here, what it's telling us is go to our service, which is the file MIH file API, and perform the get MIO file URL on whatever profile picture path we provided. And then once it provides that for us, then take the URL that we got, which is a string, and make our image preview. This thing, I don't know if we need this for now. Let me change in Word. Let me go to the end of the line and insert. So what I think I need to do over here, just to remove some errors, equals to text editing controller with open and close parentheses at the end, right? Just an empty text editing controller. So we have a warning. That warning is here, delete. So now we should have our circular avatar there, right? So basically, for those that just joined us, what we are doing is we're trying to create our own custom widget to represent this over here, right? This bit over here, because we are reusing it so many times across the Mzansi directory, I want to create a custom widget so I can just call that custom widget and make it easy for us when we are coding. So this is what we're working on. We just sorted out the circular avatar, which is this. Now we're going to put the username. Let me know in the chat what you think about the name, surname, right? Should we have that in? But definitely account type should be there, right? So I'm trying to think what's the best way of doing this. So I'm just thinking in the future, right? Once we search for something through the Mzansi directory, thank you so much everyone for the likes. Once we search through the Mzansi search, it's going to bring a list of users, and it's going to bring a list of businesses, right? So we're going to have an object called app user, right? So once again, we created that inside MIH to make it a little bit easy for us. That is under the components, and I'll show you. There's it over here, app user. Simple, a lot of information, but this is just a standard object that we use across MIH, right? So instead of us asking for the profile picture path only, what we can do is let's change this one and say final app user user, and then change this to user. All right, and then instead, if we look at the bottom, I'll just scroll down a little bit. If we look at the bottom, let me, Are you using Firebase as a backend? 100% not. Firebase costs money and we don't like spending money here at MIH. So what we are using is we are using Docker as our backend to store our data, and then we're using Fast API as a front end. So if you don't know what Docker is, I'll just Google that for you. So we're using Docker as our DevOps management tool, right? Yep. So we're using Docker as the thing to containerize our different servers, and in Docker, in order to house our API server, what we are doing is all you can do is search and then search for Fast API. So Fast API server, is it over here? So this is what we're using as our backend. We have a Fast API server on the backend, right? And that's a Python tool. Is it cheaper? Because we're hosting it on our own hardware, and all of the tools that we're using is basically free and open source. So the cost is zero other than the hardware, right? But in the past, when we were, thank you so much, Brian and MJK, for the follow. So in the past, MIH was running on a decade-old laptop, right? Thank you, user, for the follow. MIH was running on a decade-old laptop. That laptop's graphics card was even broken. Thank you so much, Justin, for the follow. The graphics card was even broken. The hard drive, you know, when the hard drive starts clicking a bit, like you can hear the disk spinning. So it even had a disk drive, not even an SSD. That's how old it was. And you can use any hardware. Because we're using Docker, you can put Ubuntu OS on there, Ubuntu Server OS, on whatever computer you have, whatever old hardware you have, and you can run Docker on top of this, right? So this is what we're using. All of this is free that I'm telling you about right now. So Ubuntu Server, free. Docker, free. Fast API, free. MinIO, free. Everything is free. I don't want to push the costs onto the people of Mzansi to use MIH, right? That's why MIH is free to use. You just have to create an account, and that's it, right? But because I already have an account, I will just sign in. So yeah, that's what we're doing. So going back to our code, now that we're taking in an app user, this app user comes with a whole lot of different characteristics that we can work with, right? So instead of just saying, I will check them out, thank you for the information, no problem. If you have any other questions, please let us know. And we are live Monday to Thursday at 7 p.m. So you can join us and interact with us live and get your questions answered immediately. Because the TikTok DMs is kind of terrible, but what can we do? So let's change this. And instead of saying directly profile picture, we're now going to say user, which is our app user, our custom object. And this custom object, sorry, okay, garbage is happening right now. Our custom object React, no Flutter. So Flutter is the framework that we're using. So you can see that there's a few characteristics, but we already have the profile picture path. So we can click on that and we can pass that into our get MIO file URL. So we're using Flutter as the front end. Who is this, Danny? So now we you know what? I don't even need this over here, if I'm being honest. So let's delete this, and go down. And then over here, we don't really need a controller, file name controller. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say text editing controller and just put a blank text editing controller in there. Why don't you just vibe code, bro? I do vibe code, but this is easy stuff. I want to vibe code on the hard stuff, on the stuff that's tedious. So if you have a look over here, Copilot is here ready for me to use. I've been using Copilot. Look at the history. Copilot is there and is being used. So I do vibe code, but vibe coding fully. Thank you so much, George, for the follow. But if you vibe code and you don't even understand what your code is doing, then you're probably not going to have a good time when errors pop up, because you don't even understand the code. So I like to understand my code and use Copilot inside VS Code to ask it questions about my own code and add stuff into my code instead of me adding to their code. You can see it's a different way of thinking about vibe coding. So instead of me adding to their code and modifying their code, they're going to modify my code. And let me show you what that looks like. So now we're on the, let me save this. So now we're on the profile, MIH profile picture preview. And if I want to ask Gemini a question or ask him to modify something over here, right? I open up Copilot at the top. Let me clear chat. And you can see at the bottom, it automatically attaches my file. So I can ask it questions about my file. So I'll ask it something easy. Please change the frame color to blue. Right? So I asked it my question about my own code, right? So there, it even says change to blue over here. So instead of me taking all of the code from, instead of me taking all of the code from Copilot and not understanding what's happening, I'm just seeing what did they change in my code. Oh, this is where I changed the frame color. Use that code. So that's how I use AI when developing. Yeah, you can't fully rely on AI. Some things are simple. Also, you have to understand what you're doing. So this is by user. So that's definitely true. You need to understand what you're doing. You need to have an understanding of what you're coding, and then you can modify on top of that. And what I've realized throughout my journey inside MIH is that when you're using AI to try and solve your issues. So say I'll open up the terminal over here, and you'll see there's an issue over here, right? So let me show you there's an issue over here. I don't know what this issue is, but thank you, Ronaldo, for the follow. So what I do is I normally copy the error message, however big it is, and I paste it inside, not Copilot, I like using Gemini. One day we're gonna use Mzansi AI to assist us with this, but while we're catching up, I go to Gemini, and then I'll paste in that error message and I'll ask it, please assist me to fix this. But what I've realized is most of the AIs over-engineer a solution. So sometimes I literally had this with one of my other issues that I was facing. I don't remember what it was, but I went to Gemini. Gemini over-engineered a solution, and that solution didn't even work. I went to ChatGPT. Once again, over-engineered the solution, and the solution didn't work. I went to Claude, I think 3.5 or 4. I'm not sure which one is available, but I went to Claude. I asked Claude, because Claude is supposed to be the big and strong coding AI, right? And they didn't assist. They didn't assist us. Sorry, let me flip my camera so you can see me. They didn't, so I went to Claude, so I went to Gemini, didn't assist. I went to ChatGPT, didn't assist. I went to Claude, didn't assist. Then I was thinking, what other AIs are out there? Then I remembered that DeepSeek is also there, and DeepSeek is a reasoning model. So I went to DeepSeek, I asked DeepSeek the question, and the answer was one line of code. But all of the other AIs gave me a huge, thank you so much, Musa, for the follow, gave me a huge over-engineered solution that didn't even work. Right? So that's why you must be careful when you're dealing with AIs. Rather, if you even if you're not using VS Code, you can go into Gemini and just attach the file so that they have an understanding of the file. Thank you, Sipo, for the follow. That they have an understanding of what you're working with. I like to give it too much information in the beginning and then ask my question so that it has as much context about my problems, what I'm working on, all of this kind of things, and then it can help me. If you just go to the AI, show me the error, please. So if you just go to the AI, I'll show you now more. So if you just go to the AI, so I don't think the error is there now. It was errors about other stuff. But if you go to the AIs and just say, fix this error, they're gonna do garbage. I can promise you that. So Mo wants to know what the error was all about. So let's go to the bottom of our terminal. There shouldn't be any errors now. But if we're having a look over there, where was that? That error was a long time ago. But that error was to do with, it probably was I was missing something, or it was probably no, this error was for today while I was coding. It wasn't even, You can see the following. Let me shift this up for you. The following assertion was thrown during layout. Yeah, I know what issue this was. So the render flex overflow by 21 pixels. Yeah, let me show you where that error was. So if we go to our personal side of MIH, the test package, it was to do with this one over here. So I'll show you our test package. So I just want to go to that thing and I'll remove the fix for you. Sorry, let me show you what I'm looking at. So this is just our test package with a lot of the custom elements that we test out. So I'm interested in using Docker as a backend and using Ubuntu as well. Can you explain more, please? No problem. Just give us 1 second. Let me show you this error and then I'll definitely assist you with that, Kate. So let's go to GD. Right, so the error was over here. So let's remove this and remove our fix and save. Did I close? Damn it. But that's okay. GD down. Yeah, so we did save. And if we go back to here, so I'll show you what the error was about. So let's type some stuff in. This was the error. If you could see this more. Hot reload overflow. So yeah, this was the issue. In our custom element, when we reached our limit of how much characters can fit inside our multi-line text field, it overflowed for some reason. And once again, what I did was I went to Copilot. So I'll even show you the chat. Let's go to history. Yeah, so I went to Copilot. This is what I asked. If I use the text form field widget in multi-line mode, which is the big mode, and then the validation error appears, I get an overflow issue. And it attaches the file. It basically told me, wrote a whole lot of stories to me, but it basically said, use this line. Use this line and replace it with your other one. And they gave you the reasons over there. So that's exactly what I did. I tested it out. So you can see over here, if we highlight or comment that out and bring it back over here. And now if we go back to our test package, error is gone. So that was the error about. Thank you so much, Jay, for the rose. I appreciate you. Appreciate you so much. So Kate, let's answer your question. So Kate would like to use Docker as a backend and Ubuntu as the operating system to store Docker, right? So Ubuntu is super easy to install. If you have an old laptop to try it out on, all you have to do is, let's go back, all you have to do is search. So here's another question, right, that you might have to ask yourself, Kate. If you want to use Ubuntu as your operating system, what type of Ubuntu do you need? Do you want a terminal-based one? Makes sense, thanks. Yeah, thank you so much. So do you want to use a terminal-based one? Let me show you what our server looks like. Sorry, I'm just going to connect on off camera. Let's clear this. CD. Yeah, so this is our server, right? The server running MIH. So do you want a server that has a graphical user interface that is going to chow some of your resources, right? Or do you want just a straight terminal? So I chose straight terminal. And if you just do htop, press enter, you'll see that you can see the performance of the computer over there. So you can see that I have 32 gigs of memory. It has 16 cores, and you can see all the different processes. Do I play any games? So I do have a PS5. I haven't played games in a minute, but I do have a PS5, and yeah, I do play some games. But definitely not on this computer. This performance on the MIH computer or MIH server is for you guys. This is for you to benefit the performance benefit. So from that old laptop that we had, we moved over to this computer over here. So if I do F10 and close this out, so that's the question that you're going to have to ask yourself, Kate. Do I want a graphical user interface? Add a nice load shedding game to MIH. 100% will definitely do that. I'll add like a Flappy Birds or a Minesweeper or something for you. And remember, because we're using Mzansi AI, or not Mzansi AI, because we're using Flutter, people describe Flutter as like a game engine. It basically gives you a blank canvas that you can draw whatever on top of it. But let's answer Kate's question. So you have to ask yourself, Kate, do you want to have a graphical user interface? Are you very familiar with the terminal, right? If you're not so familiar with the terminal, which you should be, if you are coding and you want to like work with Docker and all of these things, right? Because they are CLIs, basically command line interfaces. So you can just go Google, or yeah, you would Google Ubuntu OS, click on download Ubuntu, and then you can look for the one that's specific to you. Thank you so much, Sean, for the follow. Get the one that's specific to you. So in my case, I used server. So you can click on that down arrow, choose server. And this is the one that we are running. And LTS means long-term support. Make sure you got Rufus 100%. So thank you, Jay, for assisting us. So in order to load or put an operating system on your own hardware, you're going to have to create a bootable USB. So once you click on download and downloaded if you click on this, you'll see it's an ISO file that you would have to download. Yeah, so it's downloading now. It's an ISO file. Don't worry about the other things over here. It's an ISO file that will be downloaded. So I'll cancel that. Once you have the ISO file ready on your side, then what you'll have to do is, if you're using Windows currently, you can use Rufus. Rufus is a great tool to use. So it creates Rufus create bootable USB drives the easy way. So it's basically a software. When you click on it, it'll prompt you with this screen. You can select your operating system, that ISO file that you just downloaded, and then burn that to your USB drive. Once you're in your USB drive, depending on your machine, what machine you use, you're going to have to go into the, I think it's the BIOS mode. The BIOS mode of your computer, right? And if your thing has secure boot, you'll find it somewhere over there. If you have secure boot, you can you have to remove that to install Linux. But you can see over here, it's saying the most common way to access the BIOS or the UEFI is to press specific keys like F2, F10, F12, delete, escape. One of these keys are for you. You can Google your specific computer, and the computer will, and Google will tell you what you need to do, right? And there's great videos out there of how to do this, right? F2 or escape. I think sometimes F10, F12. So let me search for this. So install. So what I did is I YouTubed install Ubuntu Server OS 24. So there's it over here. So you can even see I've already watched some of it, right? So you would click on this, follow this video, and then this guy gives you a great tutorial of how to install the Ubuntu operating system. I'll put it in the chat. I don't know how easy it's going to be for everyone to follow, right? So you can follow that tutorial over there. That's the tutorial that I followed. If you're having more trouble, I'm sure I can assist you with anything, but this is the tutorial that I followed. And so once you have Ubuntu operating system on your computer, now the next step is to install Docker. So what is Docker, right? If you want to figure out or find out what Docker is, you can just ask Mzansi. So please explain what Docker is, all Docker software. So I'm saying software over there because I don't want it to start talking about like shipping stuff. So Docker software is all about. Let's listen.
Hey there, Let's talk about Docker. Basically, Docker is like a really clever way to package software. Think of it like shipping a neatly packaged Lego set. Everything you need to build it is inside, and it's guaranteed to work the same way no matter where you take it. In the tech world, Docker packages up your application and all its dependencies, like libraries and tools, into a single unit called a container. This container then runs consistently across different environments, your laptop, a testing server, or even a cloud environment. It's super useful for development, testing, and deploying applications. Want to know more about how it works or how it relates to the MIH app? Would you like me to elaborate on this topic?
Thank you so much, Mzansi AI, for answering our question. So, yeah, it's basically a container tool, containerizer tool. I don't know what the right word is, but it allows you to create, instead of having separate servers, so container explainer. Instead of having your SQL server running on its own computer, then having another server which is for your fast API stuff, your APIs, then having another server to house your front end, like thousands of servers now, and the scalability of that is not going to be too nice. Did it not open image? Oh, there's it. What Docker does is it basically allows you to, so you have your infrastructure, which is your computer, your hardware, whatever machine you have your host operating system. So that was the Ubuntu that we just spoke about, right? Then you install Docker on top of that. Then on top of Docker, you can have different, they call it apps over here, but it's basically different servers. So you can have your SQL database here. You can have your front end here. You can have your API server, or your Node.js server over here. You can have any kind of things, and these containers can speak to themselves as if they were computers connected to each other, right? So that's how we do it inside MIH. I don't think there's a way for me to show you. Yeah, there's it over here. Looking ugly right now, but here are the different containers. So you can see we have, this is just networking, don't worry about these two. So here's our networking one. So our containers can speak to each other. Here's our MinIO for object storage, our S3. Here's our database. Here's our AI, which is Olama. Here's our monitor, so that we can monitor our containers and understand if everything is healthy, if everything is up and running. Look at logs. We can do that here. Here's our API hub, which is fast API container. Here is PHP MyAdmin, so that we can manage our database, right? Then we have super tokens for our authentication. All of these are free and open source tools, guys. Then we have our UX, which we're currently working on now. So you have all of your containers there available for you, right? And how instead of you creating, like if we head over to the fast API one, and if we look at the script that's used to generate a fast API server, it's this line of script, but it just creates one container. You're going to have to create another container and then figure out how to connect them together so that they can speak to each other. A better way of doing it is, instead of using Docker on its own, there's a different, like a adjacent technology, if I can call it that, called Docker Compose. Docker Compose. So once again, we'll ask Mzansi AI, what is Docker Compose? In the same chat, what about Docker Compose? Thank you so much. Who's this? Fact Matrix. Did my chat stop working? I have a question. Wait, let me reload the chat on over here. That's why I thought everyone just got quiet, because they were listening to me so attentively. But please ask your question. If I missed anything, you can say it again. Thank you so much. Who was it that followed me now? Thank you so much, Fat Matrix, for the follow. So I'm here. Yeah, I can see the thing. Thank you so much, guys. I can see the chat is back. It was frozen for some reason on my side. But cool. Who was that wanted to ask a question? Dr. Shock, please ask your question. We'll listen in the meantime.
Okay, great question. Let's dive into Docker Compose. Docker Compose is essentially a tool for defining and running multi-container Docker applications. Think of it as a way to manage a whole orchestra of containers, instead of running each container individually. Compose lets you define them all together in a single, easily manageable file. This file, usually called Docker Compose YNL, tells Docker Compose how to build, run, and connect all the containers within your application. It's like a blueprint for your entire application stack. It simplifies things like setting environment variables, linking containers together, and defining networks. Essentially, Docker Compose makes it much easier to deploy and manage complex applications that consist of multiple services. Would you like me to elaborate on this topic, perhaps with a simple example?
No, thank you, Mzansi AI. That explanation was perfect. So, yes, so if you're using welcome back, Mr. Pixels. So, if you're just using straight up Docker, it's easy to spin up a single container, right? But then as your application gets bigger and bigger, so if you're thinking of having an application itself or a web app or whatever you want to call it, you're gonna need a database to store your information. That's gonna be one container. You're gonna need a API container so that you can retrieve stuff from the database, and you're gonna need a front end or UI or UX container that's going to host whether it's going to be the React application or your Flutter application. That's where it's going to host. Thank you so much for the follow. So that's at least 3 containers that you're going to have to create if you just want to create a simple application that stores data, right? So using Docker, you're going to have to use this line of code. Then you're going to have to say, okay, I want an SQL, my SQL server, right? Here's my SQL, built official Docker image, built by the SQL people. Right, here's a server for SQL, right? And where's their code? Yeah, there. You're gonna have to run this line of code just to run your container again, right? Then you're gonna have to say, what is I gonna say? React is the next container, or let's say Node.js. Then you're gonna have to have a Node.js. There's a Node container. I don't know if that's the correct one, but a Node container to house your front end. Right, so that's 3 separate containers. But if you're using a Docker Compose file, let's say, can you give me an example of a Docker Compose file with a fast API, MySQL, and React or Node. Let me say Node.js containers. Let's see if Mzansi AI is powerful enough to write us this code. But yeah, this is what your Docker Compose file would look like. So let's close this, but it looks very similar to this, right? So you'd have your DB, but you can see, yeah, the image is just not correct, but you'd have your DB. This is how you would set it up in the Docker Compose file. Then you would have a fast API container. Then you would have your fast API container, maybe a Node.js thingy, then the volumes, and then there'll be networking on top of this, right? There's some explanations of this. And let's say, now we'll ask the question, how do we spin up all of these containers? How do we run the Docker Compose file, right? So there's it over here. Mzansi AI got our back. So if we close this, you'll see Docker not this one. Here, Docker Compose up/d. So it's basically saying, look for the Docker Compose file, and we want it to spin up. So create our containers, make sure that they're up and running, and -d is basically a detached mode, right? So with Docker, you can dive into the specific containers and act as if it's the normal container, right? Your normal container that you're using. So you would use Docker Compose -up in the terminal instead. So look at this, right? After you created your file, which looks like this, right? It's just one file, one YAML file that you'll create. And then you go to your terminal, and in your terminal, you would just write this thingy, this line, and then it would spin up your containers instead of now running. Let me go back to the other one. instead of you now running this long line of code over here for each and every container that you have, you use Docker Compose to automate that for you. That's why it's a DevOps tool. So DevOps is developer operations tool, something like that, right? So sorting out the infrastructure and stuff. So that's what Docker Compose is. Kim still here? Or what's her name? Kate. Is Kate still here? Am I assisting you with your question? But yes, who was that asked? Dr. Shark, where's your question? We've been waiting. So cool, that's what we were getting up to. What's the time now? Cool. So maybe in like another 5 minutes or so, we'll see if Dr. Shark is still here and wants his question answered. But you can ask Mzansi, and I'm sure Mzansi is able to ask or answer your question. Yeah, so moving on from that. So that's how you would use Docker, right? So you would use Docker Hub. Docker Hub is, if you just Google Docker, you'll see the first link that says Hub. That's the link that you would use. You would just click on that and search for whatever technology you want to use. And like we use MinIO, right? So MinIO, search for that. There's MinIO. So Docker is an amazing place to find out how to create containers. Here's Olama. Quick and easy. Here's Fast API. And normally these containers are created by the creators of these technologies, right? And then MySQL. So these are just Docker stuff, right, to assist you with that, just to see if it's there. So I think I'm using this one over here, but that's okay. So yeah, you have your MySQL. But all you can do is Google MinIO Docker Compose. And then, yeah, running MinIO server with Docker Compose. Here's the code. So you would just add this code over here to your current Docker Compose file to create a MinIO object storage container inside your infrastructure, right? Inside your Docker stuff, Docker containers. We'll definitely try it out. Thanks, man. Thank you so much, Kate. I'm glad I was able to assist you with that. But please, if you want to spin up multiple things, like you're saying you want a backend also, then I suggest Docker Compose. It makes it way easier. Thank you so much. I can't see your name. Zamani for the follow. Yeah, so we were working on this. It's a little bit late now, but it's okay. It was fun. There was some great questions, great discussions happening. I appreciate all of you that are here to watch this. It's quite nice building something together with a community. So I appreciate you guys for that. So thank you so much for joining the lives this evening. Quite exciting stuff. We are going to be live again on Monday. So that's next week. If you like what we're doing here, want to contribute to the MIH project and assist us with coding, or if you just want any questions answered, please feel free to join us, follow us so you don't forget about us. And yes, thank you so much. And let's keep working hard, Mzansi. Can I ask before you go? No problem. Ask away. Ask away. What's the question? So while we're waiting for that question to come through, so let me tell you what I learned today, right? So I don't know if you remember, be safe. Thank you so much, Jay, for coming through. I appreciate it. So let me tell you what I learned today while we're waiting for the question to come through. I remember when we added the titles and the favorites to the Mzansi wallet, I told you that, guys, please update to the latest version because I might have broken things on the older version, right? But So I didn't like that kind of approach to development. I want everyone in who has MIH downloaded to at least have a functioning version of MIH. But if you change like backend tables and APIs and all of these things, it tends to break the front end because the people on the old version are still are using the updated APIs that it's not. Can I create an AI automated software for trading? I'll definitely come back on Monday. This was amazing. Keep it up. Thank you so much. And don't forget to download MIH. It's on the Google Play Store, Apple App Store, and the web. Just search Mzansi Innovation Hub. We should be at the top of the list. So to answer your question, can I create an automated software for trading? So I don't know much about trading. However, there is a software called Selenium. Selenium, right? I'm not sure if you've heard about it, but let's ask Mzansi. I'll switch the camera. This is the last question, guys. Save the questions for Monday. So I'll flip the camera so we can get Mzansi AI to answer that for us. So can you please tell me about I don't want to spell it wrong. Selenium, right?
Hey there, let's talk about Selenium. Essentially, Selenium is a powerful set of tools used for automating web browser interactions. Think of it like giving instructions to a computer to act like a human when browsing the internet. It's super popular for things like testing websites, checking if buttons work, if forms submit correctly, or if the site looks okay on different devices. The MIH app uses Selenium through the Mzansi AI, so you can see how valuable it is for us. Would you like me to elaborate on a specific aspect of Selenium, like how it works or what languages it supports?
So that's what Selenium is. NXM, I'll answer your question now. So that's what Selenium is. It's basically I don't think it's only web, but they're saying web over here. So it's a web automation tool that basically allows you, I think you can use it with Python also or Java, whatever language you want to use it with. And you would code like, open up this website. When you're on this website, what do I need to look for? What do I need to click on? What information do I need to scrape from the website, right? So that's probably what you want to do with the trading stuff. So to see when the indicators are high, when indicators are low, all of those kind of things. But if you want to build one from scratch, I suggest learning Python. So let's say Selenium Python. So learn Python and you see Selenium with Python, all right? So you can use that technology. Let me put it in the chat for you. So that's what it is. So MNX, so Mzansi AI was created by us. Thank you so much. See you on Monday. Thank you so much. Don't forget to follow. Don't forget to download Mzansi Innovation Hub. So to answer your question, MNX, Mzansi AI was not created by us, but we're using the Olama technology, which is open source tools, right? Olama is I'll show you now. Get up and running with large language models on your own hardware. If you explore models, the current model that we're using is Gemma 3N. Once you have Olama running, all you have to do is run this line of code, and then on your own hardware, we have LLM server and LLM APIs and things available for us. So this is what we use. We didn't create it by ourselves, but we're not using other people's APIs. It's our own API. So yes, thank you so much everyone for joining, for asking great questions, for following, for liking, doing all the nice things. I appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you so much, and let's keep working hard, Mzansi.